ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। First of all, I would like to offer my obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who blessed the whole world with this opportunity to come together and worship Sri Krishna in this degraded age of Kali Yuga, in this material existence. We've been transmigrating for so many lifetimes, and Srila Prabhupada, very kindly as the Acharya, he arrived for benefiting all of us. My obeisances to all the wonderful Vaishnav Acharyas in our line in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Parampara, who have been um, speaking Hari Katha, serving, preaching, taking care of so many thousands of Vaishnavas from one generation to another. My obeisances to all of them. My obeisances to my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj. My obeisances to all the spiritual masters, the gurus of all the Vaishnavas who are listening on this call, and also those who are not listening. My obeisances to everyone. My obeisances to all my superiors, my obeisances to each one of you present here, my obeisances in all the directions to all the Vaishnavas in all the prominent Vaishnav sampradayas. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I feel extremely grateful, extremely humbled, and extremely fortunate to have this opportunity to serve so many wonderful Vaishnavas in the month of Kartik. I am utterly unqualified to say anything about Krishna. Krishna is unlimited. His glories are unlimited. His sweetness, His mercy, His compassion, all His qualities are unlimited. And me trying to say something is like a little sparrow trying to flap its wings and cover the length and breadth of the sky, or like a small fish who's trying to swim in the ocean, never being able to reach the depth of this wonderful ocean of devotion. But I'm seeking the blessings of each one of you. It won't be easy to continue to speak for a long time, but I am Tara Icha Balavan. The desire of the Vaishnavas, the blessings of the Vaishnavas is very powerful. So I beg each one of you, please kindly pray for me. May the right words come at the right time, in the right mood of glorifying Sri Krishna, purifying our heart, and pulling our consciousness closer and closer to their lotus feet. When great Vaishnava Acharyas have written that Tadapi Tava Gunanam Krishna Param Nayati, O Sri Krishna, even if an ocean of ink gets used, Asita Giri Samam Syat, Kajjalam Sindhu Patre, Suravara Taru Shakha, Lekhani Patramurvi, Likhati Yadi Grihitva Sharada Sarvakalam, Tadapi Tava Gunanam Krishna Param Nayati. Great Acharyas have written that, my dear Lord, even if a full ocean of ink gets used and a pen gets used made out of the celestial kalpavriksha tree branches of heaven, and even if the paper that is used is the surface of Mother Earth, and if the writer is Saraswati Devi herself, all unlimited. The ability of Saraswati Devi is unlimited. The expansive nature of Mother Earth's surface is unlimited as the paper, and oceanic ink is unlimited, and the pen that is used from the branch of the divine kalpavriksha trees of heaven. So with all of that supernatural characteristics, still, my dear Lord, Krishna param nayati tava gunanam Krishna param nayati. Dear Krishna, your qualities cannot be completely described. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad has said that it may be possible at one point to hold the sun in one hand and the moon in the other, but still to completely glorify Sri Krishna in a way that the speaker will have complete realization of Krishna and the listener will have complete realization of Krishna is impossible for a condition so. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad has even gone on to say that one may at one point be able to count all the atoms on the surface of Mother Earth, or be able to count all the raindrops from the cloud, or even be able to count, let's say, a modern example, snowflakes in winter. But one will never be able to count the number of qualities that Krishna has. Because by the time we are describing Krishna's flute sound, we are scratching the surface. Quantity and quality, both are increasing. As we are describing Krishna's qualities of playing the flute, the quality and quantity, the depth and the height are increasing. So it's like trying to count the wealth of a rich man with 1 rupee note. He's making thousands and thousands of crores of rupees, and we are trying to count all of his money with $1 or 1 rupee coin or note. It's impossible. By the time we are trying to do that, another 1 crore, another 10 crore has been deposited in the account. And we are $1 because our ability is so limited. সহস্র যুগ পর্যন্ত যদি লিখায় গণেশ তবু প্রভুর এক দিনের লীলা না পাইবে শেষ. Even if Lord Ganesha, he breaks his tusk and starts writing, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, still complete description of 1 day activity of Sri Hari, Sriman Mahaprabhu, is not completely possible. Koti Juga Paryanto, Jadi Kahoy Ananta, even if Ananta Shesh with his millions of hoods, millions of mouths, continues to glorify for all times to come, still na paibe anta. He won't be able to come to the end of the quantity and quality of the Lord's qualities and pastimes, even for 1 day. So expressing my inability, yet at the same time expressing my extreme good fortune and happiness. I'm very, very happy to put myself at the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas. All of you drag me through the streets of Srimad Bhagavatam, through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam with your enthusiasm. যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পায় তোমার করুণা সার করুণা না হইলে কান্দিয়া কান্দিয়া প্রাণ না রাখিব আর. I don't have any ability, but all of you, please, like swans, you please take the milk and leave the water behind. So welcome. Today is the Adhivas Tithi, which means the day before the start of the month of Kartik. There are Vaishnavas who start the Vrat of Kartik from Purnima, and there are those who start from Dwadashi, and there are those who start from Ekadashi. In Sri Hari Bhakti Vilas, Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad has prescribed that when you start from Ekadashi, then this is highly beneficial because even logically you get 5 extra days. So you go from Ekadashi to Ekadashi and then you get the 5 days of Bhishma Panchak. However, those who are performing from Purnima or from Dwadashi, they're also following Shastra, no problem. So we will start our Vrat from tomorrow, from Ekadashi, and today is Ram Vijayotsava or Vijay Dashami or Dasera, the day before. So we wanted to glorify the potent month of Kartik today so that devotees are enthused to start their Vrat from tomorrow. Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad has written that Damodaram Prapadyeham Shri Radha Ramanam Prabhum Prabhavat Yasya Tat Preshta Kartika Sevito Bhavit. Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad says that first of all, I take shelter. Damodaram Prapadyeham. I take shelter of Damodar. And with whom? Radha, Sri Radha Ramanam Prabhu. I bow down to Damodar as Radha Damodar with Radharani. I take shelter of the divine couple. Prabhavat yasya tat preshtaha Kartika sevito bhavet. By their blessings and their influence, Kartik month has become the most powerful. And this is certainly true. Just like Krishna has said, Masana Margashirshoham, of all the months I am Margashirsha. Then naturally, we see in our deity worship also, we don't worship Krishna alone. We worship Krishna with Sri Radharani. Even in chanting mantras, we don't chant the name of Krishna alone. We chant Hare Krishna. We chant the name of Krishna with the name of Sri Radharani. Similarly, the month Margashirsh, which is the next month, appears as Krishna, and this month Kartik, the month before, appears as Sri Radharani. Sri Rupa Goswami Pad has mentioned in his writings that Nikhila Samaya Bhartu Kartikasya Adi Devi, that just like of all the personalities in Vrindavan, Shri Radharani is the queen. She's the Adhishthatri Devi. She's the presiding queen. Shrimati Radharani ki jai ho. Vrindavaneshwari Radharani Vrishabhanunandini ki jai ho. Of all the residents of Vrindavan, Shri Radharani is the queen. Similarly, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad has said, Nikhila Samaya Bharta. Of all the 12 months, Kartik month is the queen. So of course we say Krishna says once in 2.5 years, the most powerful Adhik Mas is Purushottam Mas. It is Krishna. But you see, for getting the mercy of Krishna, you have to wait to once. You can get him only once in 2.5 years. But Radharani is so kind; she's appearing every year to deliver us. So this is the month of Kartik. So therefore, in this month of Kartik Mas, Radharani being the presiding deity, she should be worshipped with Krishna throughout. Now, Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad has written, Kartikesmin Visheshena Nityam Kurvita Vaishnavaha Damodararchanam Prata Snanam Danam Vratadikam. What are the things one should perform in the month of Kartik? Asmin Kartike, in this month of Kartik, Visheshena, of course, these things must be done every day, even in other days of the other months, but especially in the month of Kartik, and that too not once in the whole month, but every day. Nityam Kurvita Vaishnavaha. Vaishnavas are expected to do the following every day. Damodar Archanam. One must worship Damodar. So you can worship Damodar with Yashoda Devi, Yashoda Damodar, or you can worship Damodar as Navakishore with Radharani as Radha Damodar. Anga Shamalima Chhatabirabhito Mandi Kritendivaram Jadyam Jaguda Rochisham Vidadatam Pattambarasya Shriya Vrindaranya Vilasinam Ridilasa Damabir Amodaram Radha Skanda Niveshito Jwala Bhujam Dhyayema Damodaram. Sri Rup Goswami Pad has composed this pranam mantra for Radha Damodar by saying that, of course, he who is bound by the ropes of Yashoda Rani's love as Yashoda Damodar, he is eternally bound by Sri Radharani. He is eternally bound by Radharani. And Rupa Goswami Pad says, Anga Shamalima Chhatabhirabhito Mandikriten Divaram. Krishna's form as Damodar in his 16-year-old Gopavesha Venukar Navakishore Natavar as the most Nitya Navanavaya Manam, as the most ever youthful form, Sri Sham Sundar. How is it? The blue complexion, the bluish black complexion, Mandi Kriten Divaram, it can dull the garden of night blooming blue lotus flowers. That is how beautiful Krishna's bodily complexion is. And Jadyam Jaguda Rochisham Vidadatam Pattambarasya Shriya. He says, at the same time, if you compare Krishna to a rain cloud, then Krishna's yellow dhoti can dull, can criticize, can rebuke a whole galaxy of flashing lightning. And Vrindaranya Vilasinam Vridi Lasad Damabir Amodaram. This Damodar, this Krishna is so beautiful that he has bound Sri Radharani by the ropes of his love. And he is bound to Sri Radharani by the ropes of her love. And therefore you can see Kalindir Kule Kili Kadam Beraban Ratana Bedir Upar Boshabu Duijan. Radha and Krishna, Sri Narottam Das Thakur Mahashay has written, they are sitting on a jeweled, bedecked, beautiful, diamond-studded jewel. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha, Srimad Ratna Agara Simhasanastho, Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo, Prashthalibhi Sevyamano Smarami. Sri Radharani and Sri Shamsundar are sitting on a beautiful, bedecked throne under the Kalpavriksha trees of Braj. And while they're sitting together, Sri Rupa Goswami Pad has said, they are sitting with so much affection that Krishna's hand is around Sri Radharani's shoulder and Radharani's hand is around Shamsundar's shoulder. So both of them have bound each other by ropes of divine ecstatic love. So therefore, Krishna is Damodar. Radha Skanda Niveshita Ujjvala Bhujam Dhyayema Damodaram. So this is like a rain cloud Krishna who's sitting with not flashes, but steady lightning of Sri Radharani's presence throughout. Because in this world, you can see the cloud is steady, but the flash of lightning comes and goes. But on the throne of Vrindavan, the cloud Sri Shamsundar and steady lightning Sri Radharani are always bound together with divine, unmotivated, uninterrupted, transcendental Krishna Prem or Braja Prem. And therefore, because they're mutually bound to each other, they are called Radha Damodar. And this name is so beautiful that Sri Jiva Goswami Pad, when he got his deities, that Sri Rupa Goswami personally carved for him, Sri Rupa Goswami named those deities as Radha Damodar. So Damodar is very dear name. Radha Damodar is very dear name for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. It is not coincidental that Srila Prabhupada went there to do his bhajan before starting his preaching mission. And Srila Prabhupada lived there for many years, writing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy name, and even sweeping the courtyard of Sri Rupa Goswami's Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir, crying out, Hey Rupa, Hey Sanatan, Hey Jiva, Rakshamam, Pahimam, Rakshamam, Pahimam. The acharyas who lived there as the neighbor to Srila Prabhupada in the Radha Damodar temple, they heard Srila Prabhupada cry even in the middle of the night. One sadhu once said in his memories that I saw Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, mop the floor in the middle of the night or broom the floor in the middle of the night, weeping that my Gurudev Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has instructed me to preach. I don't know how this is going to happen. O Sri Rupa Goswami, O Sri Jiva Goswami, O Sri Sanatan Goswami, please empower me. So this name Damodar is uh, quite glorious, beautiful. So this month is called Damodar. Of course, the Damodar Leela took place in this month. Apart from that, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Trivikrama, Vamana, Sridhara, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Damodara. These 12 names that are used as the 12 names of Tilak on the body, it's not coincidental. They are the names of Vishnu, four-handed form of Vishnu, which is given to the 12 months of the year. So depending on how the positioning of Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma takes place in the four hands, the form of Vishnu gets different names. So if, let's say, the Shankh is in a certain position, the Chakra is in a certain position, then he's called a certain name out of these 12 names. So similarly, this month, it happens to be named after that Vishnu Murti Damodar. And also eternally, because Krishna is bound by Yashoda Rani on the day of Deepavali. So therefore, Damodar Mas. So many beautiful background history is there. Also, this month, this vrat that is performed is called Urja Vrata. In Sanskrit, Urja means strength or Shakti, potency. Radharani is called Urjeshwari Radha. Urjeshwari, she who is the powerhouse of all spiritual strength. And because she is the Adhishthatri Devi for this month is called Urja Vrat. We perform Vrat to attain the lotus feet of Sri Radharani. So back to Srila Sanatan Goswami's words, Damodar Archanam, one should perform the worship of Damodar, and Prata Snan, one should definitely wake up early in the morning, Brahma Muhurta. Srila Prabhupada writes in one purport that one should wake up before 4 a.m., even on normal days. But Visheshena, especially during month of Kartik, one should try to wake up um, at least 1.5 hours before sunrise. So 4 o'clock is good time to wake up. We can always sleep early. Just matter of 1 month. If we are used to sleeping early and waking up early, this is a good month to bring our habit back on track. So we sleep early, we wake up early, and we take snan. Of course, we will think, how is this a vrat? In olden times, there was no hot water. So they were expected to bathe in the river early in the morning. But for us, we have suvidha, we have comfort that we can bathe in warm water. So please, we all can do that. We can wake up early, we can take snan, and we can light a lamp in front of Krishna. Those who are initiated in the Diksha mantra, you can chant your Gayatri mantras, chanting japa, doing kirtan. They're all very powerful. And dan, one can also give in charity. We can definitely give in charity to Vaishnavas, to temples, to protection of cows. We can also give in charity Tulsi plants. That is something we can do. We can always, at the end of the Vrat, you can invite Vaishnavas home, because of course in the month of Kartik, when you want to feed Vaishnavas, you want to invite them home, they may say, well, I'm fasting from this, I'm fasting from that. So at least at the end, the Udyapan festival that is described here in Sri Hari Bhakti Vilas. One should invite Vaishnavas home or sponsor something at a temple where the temple can feed all the Vaishnavas, the Brahmanas. Uh, Somebody who doesn't perform the vrat of Kartik is considered to be Atmaha, or someone who's the killer of self. There are verses in this section. Dushprapyam prapya manushyam kartikottam charen nahi dharmam dharma bhritam sreshtha sa matra pitra ghataka. That if someone, after attaining a human form, dushprapyam prapya manushyam, even after attaining the rarely attained human form, if someone doesn't perform Kartik Vrat, then pitra matra ghataka, one gets the sin of killing one's own parents. So one must perform Kartik Vrat. Avratena क्षिपेत यस्तु masam damodara priyam tiryak yonim avapnoti sarva dharma bahishkrita. If one doesn't perform Kartik Vrat, avratena क्षिपेत yastu. If someone wastes the month of Kartik, talking other topics, criticizing others, watching movies, watching TV, browsing, eating things outside, not chanting properly, not chanting one's japa, not chanting one's mantras, not studying Bhagavatam. If without proper regulation one gives up this or passes this month, then tiryak yonim avapnoti, one will attain animal species next life, because after attaining human body we have wasted it. And so much can be said in this regard, that sa brahmaha sa go ghnacha swarnastei sadanriti na karoti muni sreshta yo nara kartike vratam. That if someone doesn't perform Kartika Vrata, one gets the sin of Brahmaha, killing a Brahmana, Goghna, killing a cow, and Swarnastei, stealing gold from others' home, and Sada Anriti, which means always being a serial perpetual liar. Na karoti muni sreshta yo nara kartike vrata. So one must perform Kartik Vrata, otherwise all these sins of being a liar, being a thief, etc., a killer, they all come into being. वेदैर अधीतै किम तस्य पुराण पठनैश्च किम कृतं यदि न विप्रेन्द्र कार्तिके वैष्णवम व्रतम. This Kartika Vrata is considered to be Vaishnava Vrata, the best Vrata for Vaishnavas, and Damodara Priya, because Radharani, Yatha Radha Priya Vishnu Tasya Kundam Priyam Tatha. Just like Radharani is dearmost to Krishna, her Kund, Radha Kund is dearmost to Krishna, her Dham Vrindavan is dearmost to Krishna, her name Radha is dearmost to Krishna. Similarly, her month Kartik is dearmost to Krishna. It is described in Shastra, Mama Nama Shatenaiva Radha Nama Saduttamam, Yes Smaretu Sada Radha Na Janitasya Kim Phalam. Krishna has said, if someone chants the name of Radharani, Mama Nama Shatenaiva Radha Nama Saduttamam. If one chants the name of Radharani once, Krishna says, I give that person more credit than hundreds and hundreds of my names. And if someone is continuously serving Sri Radharani, her name, her form, her month, na jane tasya kim phalam. Even I don't know what to give a person who's chanting the name of Radharani, who's worshipping this month of Kartik. So in this month, there are so many do's that we can partake in. The most important that is found is offering lamps, is offering ghee lamps. Of course, there is profuse benefit for reading Gajendra Moksha in this month. There is profuse benefit for chanting Vishnu Sahasranam in this month. Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad has mentioned Vishnu Sahasranam, has mentioned Gajendra Moksha Stuti, which is found in Canto 8, Chapter 3, text 2 to 29, Bhagavatam. There is so much credit to chanting one chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day in this month of Kartik. There is so much credit to studying Srimad Bhagavatam in this month, reciting verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. So much credit. So much credit in worshipping Tulsi in this month. Unparalleled credit. And all of this can be attained by offering lamps to Krishna. All of this can be very simple. Very simple. We just have to take wicks, which are ghee wicks dipped in ghee. Of course, Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad says you can also use oil, but ghee is best, topmost. Next best is using sesame oil, etc. Mustard oil also, but best is to use ghee. And in that also, if it is karpurena saha, which means with karpur, with camphor, then it is amazing. And that also when it is moved around a tulsi stick. So let's say you have dried tulsi wood and you make a wick around a tulsi stick. So which means you wrap it around a tulsi stick with ghee and karpur and you sing Damodrashtakam and offer lamps to Krishna, then na jane tasya kim phalam. Then even Krishna, what to give is a good question. Of course, Devanam api durlabham. When something like that is performed, then Krishna explains that he offers himself to the worshipper because he doesn't know what else to give. So he gives himself. He gives himself completely. That devotee follows in the footsteps of Mother Yashoda and binds Krishna with the ropes of his affection. Of course, what affection can we show? We can show any affection. We don't have any affection for Krishna. But it is nice. The word sneha means butter. The word sneha also means affection. It can mean ghee or milk products. So we can't have sneha pash. We can't have ropes of affection for Krishna. But we can definitely have ropes of lamps, rows of lamps, Deepa Avali. So on the power of our affection, we can bind Krishna. But if we show lamps, then Krishna binds us in his embrace. This has been explained. Snanam Jagaranam Deepam Tulasi Vanapalanam Kartike ye prakurvanti te nara Vishnu Murtayaha. This has been found in the other Puranas that by waking up early, bathing in Brahma Muhurta, Jagaranam. Again, I'm not advising this. If one is able to be awake all night on the night of Ekadashi and chant the holy name, read Bhagavatam, that is prescribed. But I know we all have to work, we may have to go to school, we have other duties the next day, and it's possible what may happen is we may be awake all night and next day sleep. So we may lose one day of Kartik. So if you're able to be awake all night chanting and next day also you're able to chant and read and only sleep the night after, then I will let you decide. I am not prescribing. Better to be regulated every day, whether it's Dwadashi, Ekadashi, Dashami, etc. But Shastra says it's my duty to repeat. Snanam Jagaranam, to wake up early, at the same time to be awake on the night of Ekadashi. Deepam, to offer lots of lamps to Krishna. Some question have been asked in the past. What if there are those who can't offer lamps for some certain days in the month? Then what to do? Then in that case, you can offer lamp to Krishna through someone else. This has also been advised. You can request someone else to offer a lamp for you. This is also possible. Or if, let's say, somebody is all by themselves, let's say somebody is by themselves in the forest of this material world. We are like a sadhu somewhere, and we don't have anybody next to us. Then what you can do, somebody else who has offered a lamp, you can make sure that you protect that lamp from being extinguished through wind. Then it still gives the benefit of offering a lamp. So three things have been mentioned: either offering lamps ourselves, or requesting someone else to offer lamps on our behalf, or if someone else has offered a lamp, their lamp, you can protect that lamp. And that also gives benefit. If you know someone who's going to Vrindavan Dham, now this is very cumulative. This is mathematics to the fullest. Offering lamps in Brahma Muhurta is glorious on any day. In Narsimha Puran, in Garuda Puran, it has been described if lamps are offered in the morning and you see Krishna have darshan of the form through the light of those lamps, then millions of sins of millions of lifetimes are destroyed. This was also given by Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion. which is the summary study of Sri Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Then Kim Utaha, then what to say of offering lamps in Brahma Muhurta in the month of Kartik. Then Kim Utaha, what to say when it is offered on a tulsi stick, dried tulsi stick. Then Kim Utaha, when it is offered in Mathura Mandal, in Braj Mandal, in Brindavan. And Kim Uta, if it is offered in Brindavan on Kartik Ekadashi in Brahma Muhurta on Tulsi sticks. Haribol. Cumulative. So now the question could be what to do if we don't have the fortune of going to Brindavan in the month of Kartik. Then somebody will be going. You may know somebody who's going to Vrindavan. Request them on your behalf. We all can request on our behalf to those Vaishnavas if they can offer a lamp and pray for us. And if they can offer some obeisances and pray for us. We can also give some charity to cows or Brahman Bhojan or Vaishnav Seva, Go Seva, etc. And we can request the devotees to offer on our behalf. That is also accepted. It is described here that Itham Dinatrayam api Kartike ye prakurvate Devanam api te vandya kim yair ajanma tatkritam. Even if 3 days in the month of Kartik, 3 days out of 30 days. Now look how merciful the Lord is. How merciful. First of all, we are supposed to perform bhakti to Krishna all our life. If not, if you're not able to perform all our life, at least 1 year, 12 months. Okay, we can do that at least 4 months, Chaumas, Chaturmas, 4 months. Okay, we can do that at least 1 month, Kartik. Then towards the end, we will say if we can't do even Kartik, then last 5 days of Bhishma Panchak. There's extreme sale going on. Extreme sale. So it's come down to 5 days from a lifespan of 70, 80 years. Then Srila Sanatana Goswami says if you can't do in 5 days, Itham Dinatrayam api. Even if we are able to fast properly, what does that mean? In the month of Kartik, even keeping away from things that you really like to eat is also good vrat. Sri Hari Bhakti Vilas describes those who can eat once a day. That's also wonderful. Of course, you don't have to torture yourself. If you can perform bhakti better by eating twice or thrice, you take decisions according to your health and according to your capacity. Again, my duty is to say what Shastra says. So we can pick and choose according to our ability. Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad has said if one can eat once a day, that's also glorious. That's wonderful. One can destroy lots of sins and one can even attain heaven. Of course, that's not our purpose. We are not going to settle anything short of Nischala Bhakti Rastu. Bhakti for Radha Shyam Sundar. We don't want anything lesser than that. No more cheating, right? So many lifetimes have been wasted. But the point is, giving up something that's very dear to us, regulating our eating, very important. Many Vaishnavas, and this is also given in Shastra, many Vaishnavas keep away from vegetables which have a lot of seeds. So you can decide like that. One rule which is a complete must, absolute must, is keeping away from kidney beans, rajma, urad dal for 1 month. Just like for Chaturmas, we follow 4th month, urad dal. So South Indians are going to have little trouble with papad and idli and dosa and all of that. So just 1 month, we can continue to be South Indians after. But 1 month of no urad dal and no kidney beans, no rajma, etc. It is also described that if these 3 days, just 3 days in the month of Kartik, we are able to fast properly. Fast means not nirjal. There are those who just stay on fruits the whole month. I know Vaishnavas like that. They just have fruits 1 whole month. There are those who take only Ekadashi Prasad for 1 whole month. And then there are Vaishnavas who take grains, but they take only once a day. The point is to reduce eating so that more time is given, not in cleaning, cutting, cooking, washing, and eating. And then when you eat more, we get more lazy and sluggish and sleepy, and sometimes more stomach upset. So then go to the restroom, then bathe. A lot of time is wasted. So if one meal can be cut down, Shastra recommends that so that more time can be given for hearing and chanting about Krishna. If just for 3 days this vrat is performed, Kartikeya kurvate, then Devanam api te vandya. Even devatas start worshipping such a Vaishnav, understanding that this person is so steadfast in the age of Kali Yuga, in the material world. He wants Radha and Krishna's lotus feet, such great determination that he's doing vrat for 3 days. Then what can be said? Kim yehi ajanma tatkritam. If somebody performs all 30 days or performs Kartik 1 year after another, after year, after another, all one's life, then what can be said? This is another point. So, Hari Jagaranam Prata Snanam Tulasi Sevanam Udyapanam Deepadanam Vratanyetani Kartike. These 5 things are considered to be most powerful. What are those 5 things? Hari Jagaranam Prataha, to wake up early in the morning for the pleasure of Sri Hari. Snanam, to take bath. Tulasi Sevanam, worshipping Tulsi. And Udyapanam, performing a big festival at the end of the month, inviting Vaishnavas home and feeding them. And 5th, Deepadanam, offering lamp morning and evening every day. So these 5 must be done for every Vaishnav. Waking up early, taking a morning bath, which means quick bath, which means also means applying tilak all over our body and sitting to chant, etc. Tulsi Sevanam. Serving Tulsi is powerful on all days. Tulasi Kananam Yatra Yatra Padma Banani Cha Purana Pathanam Yatra Tatra Sannihito Hari. As much as wherever Srimad Bhagavatam is studied, Krishna arrives in full potency. Tulasi Kananam Yatra. Wherever there is a Tulsi plant, Krishna is present. Tatra Sannihito Hari. Krishna has already entered that place. Tulsi is most powerful. In fact, it is described in the month of Kartik if one can offer Ketaki flower. Ketaki is a nice small white flower. I'm not sure if it's found in America, but Bharat Bhumi in India it is found. So you can find jasmine flowers, malati flowers, mallika flowers, Ketaki flowers, even lotus flowers. To offer all these flowers every single day in the month of Kartik, lot of benefit. There's lot of benefit. So if we can collect flowers, naturally you can see there are flowers that are found, or you can go purchase flowers and you can offer them to Krishna. Extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. Now, what if we don't have fragrant flowers? Then Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad has said, very simple. Very, very simple. Offer a garland of Tulsi to Krishna. What if we can't find a garland of Tulsi? Then offer one Tulsi leaf to Krishna. If you can find manjaris, Tulsi manjaris with Tulsi leaf, full leaf, Krishna is extremely pleased. Tulsi has supreme benefit. Nirantara naam lo, kara tulasi sevan, achirata pabe tumi Krishnera charan. Sri Namacharya Haridas Thakur gave this advice to Vaishya, to the prostitute, that if you want to purify yourself of all your sins, continuously chant Krishna's name and worship a Tulsi plant. This is the most powerful. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, when he was asked how to perform Kartik Vrat, Srila Prabhupada gave only one advice to perform Kartik Vrat. He said, chant continuously, 24 hours. What else is there to do? And Prabhupada chuckled. Of course, we in our conditioned state, we don't have that taste of Srila Prabhupada to chant, to continuously chant. Even when Srila Prabhupada was asked about quality, how do we define quality in chanting? Srila Prabhupada said, why 16 rounds? Why not 16,000 rounds? This is quality in chanting. Also, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned about worshipping Krishna with Damodarashtakam in this month with offering lamps. That is also found, Srila Prabhupada's reference. Srila Prabhupada has also written letters about Kartik Vrat in 1972. And what about the 1972 trip to Radha Damodar temple? Srila Prabhupada, after preaching for 6, 7 years, took all his disciples, many of his disciples actually, to the courtyard of Sri Rupa Goswami, where it all began from. Srila Prabhupada came from there, and it was a beautiful, complete circle. And Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, took all these wonderful Vaishnavas to Brindavan in the month of Kartik, to Rupa Goswami's Radha Damodar temple. And for 1 month, Srila Prabhupada spoke on the Nectar of Devotion. That's the famous 1972 Nectar of Devotion series. And Brindavan was amazed. Who are these personalities? We have never seen people from the Western world shaven up with a shikha and dhoti and angavastra and tilak all over their body and kantimala, and they're chanting japa in the month of Kartik. They're performing parikrama. This was astonishing. They were looking at Srila Prabhupada and said, Swami Maharaj, this is miracle. What have you done? Prabhupada said, this is all my Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's mercy, that Krishna Bhakti has spread everywhere. So these are the 5 things. Hari Jagaranam Prata Snanam Tulasi Sevanam Udyapanam Deepadanam Vratanyetani Kartike. To wake up early, to take a bath, to serve Tulsi, to offer ghee lamp, and celebrate a festival at the end. If we can't invite them home, we can definitely sponsor a festival. If it's happening in the temple or somebody else is doing, you can always help. Panchabi Vratakair Ebhi Sampurnam Kartike Vrati. If you perform these 5, it is considered to be the most powerful. And phalam apnoti tatproktam bhukti mukti phalapradam. One attains joy in this world and beyond. Kalpakoti sahasrani patakani bahunyapi nimeshardhena deepasya vilayam yanti kartike. If somebody offers a lamp, deepasya, a lamp, nimesh ardhena, even for a fraction of a second, let's say you light a lamp and it gets extinguished quickly. Of course, that's because of lack of ghee. You can put more ghee and push the wick further. But it's described. Kalpa koti sahasrani patakani bahunyapi. Sins collected over millions of lifetimes are destroyed. Vilayam yanti kartike. If in the month of Kartik, even for a fraction of a second, one is offering a lamp. This is wonderful. Similarly, it is described, and devotees may want to note this down, that Kartike Mathurayam Vai Pujana Darshanam Dhruva Shigram Sampraptavan Balo Durlabham Yoga Tatparai. Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad says that Bala Dhruvaha, 5-year-old Dhruva, attained everything, all perfection, because Kartike Mathurayam Vai. He happened to be in Brindavan, Mathura Mandal. Remember, the 5-year-old Dhruva performed Vrat for 6 months, and one of those months was Kartik. How fortunate. How fortunate. So, Kartike Mathurayam Vai Pujana Darshanam Dhruva Shigram Sampraptavan Balo Durlabham Yoga Tatparaihi. He attained the darshan of Sri Hari by performing Vrat in Vrindavan in the month of Kartik. Also, it is described that Ambarish Maharaj, he also attained all perfection because he performed Vrat very intensely, especially Kartik Vrat. Ambarish Maharaj performed Ekadashi Vrat, Kartik Vrat very strictly. So this is very important. There are devotees who also perform lamp offering as Akhanda Deep. That is also a tradition where, just like in some Indian traditions, you may see in some occasions they have Akhanda Deep, lamp lit for a whole day or for a whole week. Even when there's a departure, there is Akhanda Deep. So here in Kartik Vrat, that is also very phaladai. That gives a lot of spiritual credit. If one can light a lamp and one protects it from getting extinguished for a whole month, you make sure that there is enough oil or ghee in such a way that the fire never gets extinguished. That is also highly powerful. And those of the fortunate devotees on the call who are in Vrindavan or will be going to Vrindavan, this verse is for you. Satwanjasa Harer Bhakti Labhyate Kartike Narai Mathurayam Sakridapi Sri Damodar Pujanat. That one very easily attains pure devotion, pure bhakti to Sri Hari by worshipping Damodar even for one day in Mathura Mandal in the month of Kartik. So there is so much benefit. Actually, Sri Rupa Goswami Pad also, I would like to read. Sri Rupa Goswami Pad has written, दीपोत्सवे कार्तिके च राधाकुण्डे युधिष्ठिर दृश्यते सकलं विश्वं भृत्यै विष्णुपरायणै. Sri Rupa Goswami Pad has said that on the day of Deepavali especially, if one can go to Sri Radhakund and light lamps on the banks of Sri Radhakund, this is found in the Mathura Khanda of the Shastra, that Deepotsave Kartikecha Radhakunde Yudhishthira. If somebody can light lamps in rows around Radhakund on the night of Deepavali or on the night of Bahulashtami. Of course, Bahulashtami has Snan benefit in Radhakund also. But if somebody offers lamps on the banks of Radhakund on the night of Deepavali, then Drishyate Sakalam Vishwam Bhrityai Vishnu Parayana. It is almost like, imagine seeing the universe in the mouth of Damodar. How astonishing would that be? That's how astonished devotees are seeing dark complexion Radha Kund early in the morning or at night with lamps lit around. This also represents the meeting of Radha and Krishna, where Radha Kund has become dark as Sham Sundar, and Sham Sundar has become golden as Radharani in the form of lamps. So Radha Kund water has become Sham Sundar in the form of darkness early in the morning, and Sham Sundar has become lit up as Sri Radharani as lamps, and the person gets the benefit of bringing Radha and Sham Sundar together. So this is also mentioned. गोवर्धने गिरौ रम्ये राधा कुंडम प्रियम हरे कार्तिके बहुलाष्टम्याम तत्र स्नात्वा हरे प्रिया. Also in the Padma Puran, Kartik Mahatmya, it is described that if someone has the fortune of being on the night of Bahulashtami in Vrindavan, in Radhakund, then one should take a dip. One should take a bath there. And Govardhane Girau Ramya, in the beautiful foothills of Giriraj Govardhan, Radhakundam Priyam Hare. Radhakund is very dear to Sri Hari. So Snatva, if someone takes Snan, then Hare He Priyaha. That person becomes very dear to Sri Hari. Of course, this comes with a caution. Srila Prabhupada, following the footsteps of Sri Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrit, he did allow bathing in Radhakund. But when some were jumping from the top, seeing this to be a swimming pool, because in the Western world, in America, it's normal to have a swimming pool and then jump from the height in different flips and flaps and making different patterns, etc. So I think initially some may have done like that and started swimming and practicing freestyle and backstroke and things like that. And Srila Prabhupada saw this and said, come out of this pond. This is not your private swimming pool. This is Sri Radharani's bathing kund. So you can go, take snan, you can do achaman, take respectful dips. 1, 2, 3 dips and come out. This is for those in the dham. Also, I would like to read, there is extreme benefit for someone who studies Shastra in this month of Kartik. And because we will be studying Srimad Bhagavatam, there is extreme benefit for studying Puranas, studying Srimad Bhagavatam. But before that, we may have this question about Damodar, Ashtakam. This Ashtakam of Satyavrat Rishi, is this something that is prescribed or is this something that just happens to be as a tradition? No, this is prescribed in Shastra. The verse that is, there are 2 verses actually. One is Tata Priyatama Vishnu Radhika Gopika Sucha Kartike Pujaniyacha Sri Damodara Sannidhau. It is described that one in this month worship Radha and Damodar together in the form of this Damodarashtakam. Damodarashtakam Nama Stotram Damodararchanam. If somebody wants to please Damodar and perform Damodar Archanam, then one must chant Damodarashtakam. You can chant it in the morning, you can chant it in the afternoon, you can chant it in the evening. At least once a day. Twice a day will be even wonderful. Most glorious. Nityam Damodar Akarshi. By chanting Damodar Ashtakam, Damodar is attracted. And Patet Satya Vratoditam. This must be chanted. This has been given in this world by Satyavrat Rishi. Um, I also want to read about the section that I mentioned about studying Shastra. So here are some wonderful references. Regarding Bhagavad Gita, Gita Dhyayam Patet Yastu Shlokam Shlokardhameva cha Bhava Bhava Papa Vinirmukto Yato Yati Vishnu Parampada. That if someone studies a chapter, if not a chapter, at least a shloka a day, Bhava Papa Vinirmukto Yati Vishnu Parampadam. One becomes freed of sins and attains Shri Hari. So this is extremely wonderful. Yo nara pathate nityam Gita Shastram dine dine vimukta sarva papebhyo yati Vishnu Parampadam. If someone is able to chant a chapter a day, every single day in the month of Kartik, sarva papebhyo vimuktaha. What about studying Bhagavatam then? Of course, we will be reciting verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is why in our Kartik Katha, we make it a point that we chant the whole chapter in the beginning. And some devotees even memorize the whole chapter in that 1 month. So that's also wonderful. Just like we used to do, remember, for Aghasur and not for Aghasur, but for Krishna in the section of killing of Aghasur and Putana pastime and Damodarashtakam, etc. So it has been explained what do we get by studying Srimad Bhagavatam. It has been described, Purane Vartamanepi Papa Pashena Yantritaha Anadrityataya Gathasu Sakta Buddhi Pravartate. If somebody is tightly bound by ropes of sin and consciousness is completely contaminated and polluted, then Purane Vartamanepi. Then one gets the chance in one's life to study the Puranas to purify oneself. But even after the Puranas have appeared in our life, we don't study it, then one becomes sinful again. So we are sinful. Puranas come in our life. Srimad Bhagavatam comes in our life to purify us. And now when we don't take advantage, we become more sinful than before. Then it is described further that here is the verse about studying the Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam especially. Vedartha adhikam manye puranartham cha bhamini puranam anyatha kritva tiryag yonim avapnuyat. Lord Shiva is telling Mother Parvati, this is found in the Padma Puran. The word bhamini here refers to Parvati Devi. Lord Shiva is saying, Vedartha adhikam manye puranartham cha bhamini. I consider Srimad Bhagavatam to be more glorious than the four Vedas. And Puranam Anyatha Kritva, if someone still gives up studying Srimad Bhagavatam in this month of Kartik, then Tiryak Yonim Avapnuyat. Then one will attain lower species of life. So this month is supremely powerful. Supremely powerful. Vaishnavas take Drida Sankalpa. Drida Sankalpa. One takes Sankalpa on the day of Ekadashi early in the morning, wakes up and prays to Krishna that, my dear Lord, these are the things I want to do. So you make a list of things that you promise Krishna, and please don't break that. So the best thing to do is go for a lower scale. Sometimes in very great enthusiasm, we say, okay, every day in this month, I'm going to chant 64 rounds. But then we end up doing 64 rounds in 4 days, which means back to 16 rounds a day. So let's take a humble, possible, sustainable, consistent vrat, and we make a list. And you don't have to tell that to anybody. Promise Krishna that these are the things I want to do. But make sure there's hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. Make sure there is charity. Make sure there's worship of Tulsi. And worship of Tulsi also in many ways. You can circumambulate Tulsi. You can water Tulsi. You can make sure you offer obeisances to Tulsi. You can gift Tulsi. Make sure you can pick the leaves of Tulsi with care, not with nails, but with the fingers, the tips of the fingers. And by offering prayers also. We don't just pick leaves like that. We offer prayers to Tulsi Devi. We offer those leaves to Krishna, wash them, offer them to Krishna, like how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Raghunath Das Goswami that you can offer Tulsi leaves and Tulsi Manjari on all sides to a Govardhan Shila, and that will promise all perfection. So we can do that. If we don't have anything, no Tulsi plant in our home, some Children even write that as emails that we don't have a tulsi plant and our parents don't let us have a tulsi plant. Here is a shortcut. Chant the names of Tulsi. Krishna will shower all mercy. So we are all there present. Now please repeat after me. You can chant loudly, no problem. Please repeat after me. Vrinda, Vrindavani, Vishwapavani, Vishwapujita, Nandini, Pushpasara, Tulasi, Krishna Jivani. That's it. 8 names of Tulsi. And if you want to bind it in a verse, Vrinda Vrindavani Vishwa Pavani Vishwa Pujita Nandini Pushpasara Cha Tulasi Krishna Jivani. Anybody who chants these 8 names, it is described Krishna gives them the credit of offering a Tulsi leaf. So this is also found in the Puranas. So performing vrat, speaking truth, not gossiping, not talking about others, making sure we do some kirtan. We visit the ISKCON temple, the Vishnu temple, the Krishna temple closest to you, and participate in the Damodarashtakam. There are devotees who are very supremely spiritually greedy. So greedy for service. So what they do the service of making wicks. This is the most powerful service. And we need most help there. Because in every temple, you see hundreds and thousands of Vaishnavas come. Hundreds and thousands of Vaishnavas come. So they all offer lamp. And imagine if we can do the menial service of making those wicks and dipping it in ghee, you get the benefit of offering lamps through them. You get the benefit of serving Vaishnavas because you're assisting them. And all of this with no false ego, because we are humbling ourselves and sitting and doing there for hours together. I know one temple president in America. She's so wonderful. She is so wonderful. She sits in the class, Bhagavatam class. She's sitting at the back and she's making wicks. So she's listening to the class and making wicks. And this was back in April, like March, April. And I saw and I asked her what she was doing. She said, well, we make and we keep for the month of Kartik because thousands, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 wicks are needed in the whole month. So we start making. And she said, I'm trying to serve the Vaishnavas. So it was quite inspiring like that, to see that. In Gaudiya Math, one very exalted sadhu, one very advanced Vaishnav, sannyasi, he was going from home to home, begging the grihasthas that can you offer some Lakshmi because as charity, because in our mutt, we want to perform some seva. So can you offer some Lakshmi? This is many, many years ago, many decades ago, actually. So one grihastha who was not a devotee, he was not like a practicing Krishna conscious devotee. He just saw this sannyasi, this sadhu, in a humble mood, knocking the door and asking for some charity. So this grihastha did not like because he was an atheist. So he was, in those days, having a maid servant at home mop the floor. He became so angry seeing this sadhu. He said, why don't you all go and get a job and make your own money? Why do you ask us for money? The sadhu said, I'm not asking much, just give me something. So this grihastha in anger, he was a little agitated person. He looked at the house help who was mopping the floor with a cloth. Jhadu pocha jo lagate hain, with a cloth. He took that dirty cloth and put it in the hand of the sadhu. He said, this is my charity. Now you mop your temple with this cloth. This sadhu, he was extremely, extremely merciful. He went, cleaned that water, cleaned that cloth, dried it up, washed it multiple times, and it had strands which were coming out. He took those strands out, which were, worn out. He made a fresh cloth out of it and used that cloth himself to mop the floor of the Gaudiya Math in the month of Kartik. That cloth which was used to mop the house of an atheist, that person, he put the cloth in the hand of the sadhu. The sadhu cleaned the cloth so many times, cut the dead ends, made it into a wonderful cloth, and used that himself to sit and mop the whole floor, Mandira Marjan. And at the end of 30 days, he announced there that there is a very nice grihastha who lives in the neighborhood. He's the one who gave charity to this. He gave this cloth as charity to the mutt so that Vaishnav Seva can go on. And this sannyasi, he prayed that whatever benefit may have come to me by mopping this floor, may all of that credit go to that grihastha. So Vaishnavas are so kind. They're always thinking of serving others. So some are making wigs, some are mopping the floor, some are cooking. In the month of Kartik, they are fasting, but they're cooking for the Vaishnavas. So making garlands, serving the deity, doing Harinam Sankirtan, going out and doing Kirtan, more and more preaching. This is all extremely glorious. There's another wonderful program that Vaishnavas around the world do. This is called the Damodar program. This I want to mention for those on the call who are watching. You can do this in your neighborhood. This is an opportunity by which you can offer this golden service of offering lamps to Krishna to others who don't know anything about Krishna. There are Vaishnavas in this world. What do? They take a picture of Yashoda Damodar and they open up the trunk of the car and they keep a big picture of Yashoda Damodar and they have lamps. And they do this outside an Indian store, even the Western world, outside an Indian store, outside a shopping mall, outside a big place, whatever mall or mart or whatever you call it, where people come in, marketplace. And they say, we are celebrating Diwali. They say, we are celebrating the month of Diwali. You can kindly take this lamp and wave it around 3 times for this around this picture and pray for world peace. There are Vaishnavas who do that. And then those who are passing by, there are many pious Indians or even those who are non-Indian background. They just say Happy Diwali and they pick a lamp and they show once, twice, thrice around Yashoda Damodar. And these devotees also give them some books. They give them some invitation cards. Please come to the temple. They give them some prasadam. So imagine those who don't know anything about offering lamps. They're getting the chance to offer lamps to Krishna. This is something we all can do in our neighborhood. We can target that maybe 50 lamps this month of Kartik, which means on an average between 1 to 2 lamps a day. We will give this opportunity to those who are not devotees. We will go to their home. That's another program. There are those who go from home to home and they do Damodarashtakam and they say they read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita and completely free. Because those who are newcomers, they may think, do I have to pay something for this? They say, no, we're just praying for your family. And this is like Griha Shanti. If we come and do this puja, there's auspiciousness in your home. And there are many grihasthas who are open to this program. So there are those preachers who have booked themselves all 30 days. That Monday, this day, I have to go to 3 homes. Next day, I go to 2 homes. Another next day, I go another 2 homes. And just go to homes, read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. In nutshell, tell them the Damodar Leela. Give them a picture of Damodar, Yashoda Damodar, and a lamp. And tell them to offer. That's it. And then if they're interested, they can tell names of their friends who can also host us. And we can go to their homes. And if people are not interested in inviting us, that's fine. There are others who may welcome us. So in this way, this month can also give supreme benefit for personal practice and Janmasarthaka Kari and Karapara Upakar, doing good to others. So with that, I will pause today's session. I know it went real quick for me. I suddenly looked at the watch and I saw that I've already gone past 9 minutes over time. So starting tomorrow, we will start reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8. That will be the section. We'll start with the name-giving ceremony of Krishna by Gargacharya, which goes into the crawling pastimes of Krishna, the butter stealing pastimes of Krishna, the Mrida Bhakshan Leela, where Krishna eats dirt and shows the universe. So that whole chapter, eighth chapter, will be our discussion in the English session. And for those who will join the Hindi session 2 hours from now, it will be Venugeet. So my obeisances to each one of you. We can consolidate all these points, make a consolidated, succinct list for ourselves, and do the best that we can. Don't burn yourself out too much in this month by trying to do too many things. Better to take a lower target, and as and when you have time, you can always do more. It's important to put your heart in what you're doing. We're not just going from one to do to another to do in a checklist. Let's offer our heart to Krishna with chanting more japa, doing more kirtan, reading Shastra, hearing Hari Katha, serving Vaishnava, serving Tulsi, observing Ekadashi, doing Go Seva, giving charity, worshipping Damodar through Damodar Ashtakam, and so many wonderful other Ashtakams that can be sung. So, with that, I offer my obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha, Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.